If you're still paying money just to be disappointed by your streaming services, that's on you, because there are so many great free streaming services that you can watch without paying a penny. No subscription, no nonsense. In this video, I will tackle the best free streaming services of 2025. Hi, my name is Matt, and I host Shall I Stream It? This YouTube channel helps you untangle the world of television streaming without going nuts or going broke. So if you want to keep up to date with everything related to streaming television, make sure to hit that subscription button as well as the notification bell to keep up to date with everything. You can also follow Shall I Stream It on all of the major social media platforms, especially Instagram, as I'm going to be covering new free streaming services each and every day throughout the next month. So make sure to follow because those videos will be exclusively on Instagram. So to kick it off here, I'm going to start with the streaming services that I would call the Swiss Army knife of free streaming services because they do a little bit of everything. The first one I'm going to talk about is, perhaps a little redundant for the platform you're watching on right now, but it is YouTube. Now, whenever I've made videos about free streaming services in the past, people always say to me, they're like, Matt, why don't you talk about YouTube? Why don't you talk about YouTube? To me, I always thought, okay, well, I'm on YouTube. Obviously, you know it exists. But with YouTube, this really has taken over the world of television streaming services at this point. More people watch YouTube than Netflix, than Prime Video, than any of the other streaming services, including the paid ones. And they also watch it on a TV. So I do think it's worth talking about because there is so much you can get out of the YouTube app. Now, it's no secret that, of course, you can watch YouTube for different user-generated content from videos people have uploaded, like yours truly, but you can also watch a lot of movies and television shows, including major ones, Hollywood blockbusters, for free, although with advertising, through YouTube. So what you'll want to do is when you're on the television app, or it also has a version of this on the mobile app as well, you want to scroll over to the Movies and TV tab. On here, they do have some paid subscriptions you can get, like Paramount Plus and things like that. But if you scroll down, you're going to see a section that says free primetime movies. This has a rotating selection of films that you can watch, just like you would with the other different free streaming services. There's also some free primetime shows that you can watch as well. So there is quite a bit that you can watch through here. Now, another thing with YouTube, if you go over here to the news tab and scroll over, you can watch a whole bunch of different live news channels, whichever flavor you want, whether it is Fox or it is ABC, local, national news, all kinds of different good stuff. There is also sports content. I'm hearing from people more and more that instead of watching the games in their entirety, especially if you're not subscribed to something more expensive like YouTube TV, just catch the highlights on YouTube, and that's a great way to keep up with your sports teams. The second app I'm going to talk about is going to be Plex. Now, Plex, I think this one is kind of the biggest Swiss Army knife app of all the different ones I'm going to talk about today. It really does a whole bunch of different things. Now, with Plex, you'll see here it has live channels, it has on-demand movies and shows, quite a few things that you can watch. There's Mad Men, there's Weeds, some of the shows in the Walking Dead universe, the Drew Carey Show, and if you go over here, you'll see the variety of different things that you can do with Plex, which I think are pretty cool. So, of course, there are the live TV channels. They do have different channels from AMC that include, things like the Walking Dead universe. There's some Better Call Saul marathon going on right now. They have some Hallmark movies. So quite a few different channels that you can watch through here. In addition to that, if you scroll over, they offer rentals. So if you rent movies, you can then watch them in that same interface as your free content. So that's kind of nice, being able to do that consolidated in one section. And then also, one thing that I think is really cool, if you go over here to the Discover section, you can basically look up any movie or show that you want, and it will tell you which streaming services it's on. So even if there's a movie or show that isn't on, this particular streaming service, they'll still direct you over there. So let's say I want to watch the Spider-Man movie. Looks like the original one with Tobey Maguire. It shows me, hey, it's over here on Disney Plus, and I can click on this, it's going to then launch the Spider-Man movie in the Disney Plus app, and it kind of provides that hub. It's sort of like your home screen for all of your other apps if you do end up subscribing to other things. Now, one thing that's really unique about the Plex app that's going to be different than any of the other streaming services I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be their ability to stream your own media. Now, if you have different movies or shows or just like slideshows and pictures that you've taken and you have saved locally on your computer, you can then upload that to a cloud storage with your Plex account and then stream it to any device using the Plex app. So you can stream it on your TV, you can stream it on your mobile devices, anywhere you want to. I've heard of people that maybe they have movies that are on DVD and they have digitized them, then they put it in their Plex account and they can watch it through there. You might get into some copyright things with that, so I'm not necessarily telling you to do that for liability reasons, I should say, but there's a whole bunch of other YouTubers that have talked about this with Plex. If you want instructions on that process, you can look that up on YouTube. Now, I haven't personally gotten into this too much. I do believe there is a paid tier if you want to, have extra cloud storage with Plex. So that is something to check out. You can see here, you can sign up for a free account, but I do believe there is also a paid account if you want extra cloud storage to stream your own content. So this next category I'm going to call the freemium tier. So these are streaming services that do primarily operate as paid streaming services, but they have a free option as well. The first one I'm going to talk about is Sling. Now, Sling has what they call Sling Free Stream. And I actually think this is probably one of the coolest free streaming apps, really underrated. I don't think as many people notice it because they do, of course, have these paid tiers. You can see here, they're trying to get me to resubscribe to Sling. I'm not subscribed right now, so that's why it's pulling that up. So we're over here on the channel section. You'll see there's various different channels that you can watch. A lot of these overlap with some of the channels that you saw from the last app with Plex. These aren't the same channels that you would get with a paid subscription or with a cable service. They're just kind of, extra spin-off channels, if you will, what they call fast channels. But with these different channels, they do give you the ability to record them, which is pretty neat. You don't always have that option with the free streaming apps. Now, another really neat thing about the Sling app is if you get a device that they call the Air TV, you can then use that device on your Wi-Fi network and actually watch your local channels through the Sling app together with the other channels you're getting over the internet and record it with that device because it acts as a DVR. But you can watch it on any of your devices that you have the Sling app on, even though it's actually coming through the signal from broadcast TV with your antenna. So that's a pretty neat thing and not something that the other streaming services I'll talk about in this video include. So you see here, you got all the digital, channels. You got Fox, you got CBS, ABC, PBS, NBC. So you do need an antenna hooked up to the Air TV on your same Wi-Fi network to do that, but it is a pretty cool feature. Now, next up is Philo. Philo is, like Sling, it is a streaming service that does include a paid subscription, but you do also have the option to watch these free channels with or without a paid subscription. And like Sling, they do also give you the option to record some of these shows as well, which is something that you don't always get with the free streaming services. So a whole bunch of different channels. I won't go through all of them, but this is also available through Philo. Now, just for the sake of time, I won't get into all of the streaming services that offer this, but two of the other paid streaming services that offer free tiers are Fubo as well as DirecTV. So the next category that I'm going to get into, I'm going to refer to as the new broadcast TV. Now, if Netflix and Hulu were the successor to cable, these streaming services are like the successor to broadcast television, or at least that's kind of what they're angling to become. The first one is very popular. It's from Amazon. It's called Freevee. Now, this streaming service is in kind of an odd spot right now because there has been reporting both last year and at different time periods that Amazon was essentially going to absorb the Freevee brand into the Prime Video app. We're still going to offer some free content. It just wasn't going to have its separate Freevee brand and Freevee app. Now, for most people that watch Freevee, they just watch it through the Prime Video app, because if you're watching the Prime Video app, it's on there anyway. Or if you have an Amazon TV, Amazon Fire TV, it's just built into the system. So I think a lot of people watch Freevee and they don't even really think about it being a thing. But it is a thing. So at least for now. And they do have a pretty good selection of movies. They've got some like first run movies and TV shows. They also make original content. Their big breakout show was called Jury Duty. That was a show about, it was like this reality series about this guy that was called for jury duty, and everyone else was an improv actor except for him, and he didn't know. Really kind of interesting social experiment that was also pretty funny. But there's a reboot of Judge Judy that is specific to Freevee. So quite a few things you can watch through the Freevee app, and I do like Freevee. You'll see here they also do have some previews of the shows that you would get with Prime Video, because it's all owned by Amazon, and it is something that they are trying to emphasize. Next up, we've got the Roku Channel. Now, this comes pre-installed on different Roku devices. It is actually the most watched free streaming service at this point, and gets more viewers than a lot of the paid streaming services. Now, if you go through here, one thing that they do emphasize is their premium subscriptions. So it does feel a little bit like they are essentially trying to upsell you when you go through this app. But there is, a lot that you can watch on here. They've got the Men in Black movies right now. They do also make some original content. There are some cooking competition shows. I believe they call it the Great American Cooking Contest or Baking Contest, something like that. They had that Weird Al Yankovic movie that was on here, Spiderwick Chronicles, UFO Cowboys. I don't know what that's about, but that's on here. So lots of stuff you can watch and enjoy through the Roku Channel app. Up next is Tubi. Now, this streaming service is owned by Fox. You'll find a lot of the shows from the Fox broadcast network are on here. They do also offer their own content that they make specifically for the Tubi platform. Now, Tubi has a certain reputation of, movies that maybe aren't the, highest budget, critically acclaimed films, but you'll be surprised by a lot of the content that is on here. They have some, classic comedies and dramas. They have films that have won Academy Awards. They've also got some live channels. It looks like they've got NASCAR. They've got some sports and news and Duck Dynasty, Game Show Network, different things on here. And those Tubi original films, of course, they are a little campy, a little B-movie, but they do have their audience and definitely some good memes I've seen about the Tubi movies on Twitter. So, and you'll look here, there's a bunch of good films, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Mr. Robot, that was a good show. So there's all kinds of good stuff that you can watch on Tubi, and they did, of course, also broadcast the Super Bowl this last year. So next up, we've got Pluto TV. This streaming service is owned by Paramount, which owns CBS. Just like you'll find a lot of content from the Fox broadcast network on Tubi, you'll find a lot of content from CBS, like shows like Survivor, on the Pluto TV app. So their main focus has always been on their channels. These, of course, aren't the same channels that you would get with a cable subscription. But when you first launch the app, that is the thing that is emphasized first. Channels that have reruns of old sitcoms, reruns of reality shows, different movies, Star Trek, things like that. They do also have an on-demand section as well. So a lot of people really like Pluto, and I have made a separate video about it if you want to watch that. Now, all of the streaming services that I've talked about so far do have advertising. That's the trade-off for it being free. But these next two you can watch with no advertising whatsoever, thanks to your local public library. The first one is called Kanopy. Now this one focuses on, different feature films and classic movies, documentaries, lots of really good movies. If you're a movie aficionado, definitely something to check out. You'll see here they've got different films like The Queen, Stranger Than Fiction, films from A24 and Neon. They've got Terminator 2 on here, I, Tonya. Lots of good movies on here. They've got the Weird Al Yankovic movie that you can also watch on the Roku Channel. And they've got the Mission Impossible movies. So Mission Impossible 1 through 5. Kind of surprised to see that here, but that's pretty cool. So if you want to catch up on the Mission Impossible films, you can do that. Now with Kanopy, how it works is, and it depends on what your library has set up, but you have to create an account using your library card, which is of course free. You can go to your library, get a library card, just fill out a form. Trust me, it's super easy. Don't be intimidated. But you don't have to pay money because that is paid for by your tax dollars. Once you've got your library card, go online, see if your library participates through either Kanopy or Hoopla. Usually it's one or the other. And I'll talk about Hoopla after this. But once you've got your account set up, you get credits. And those credits you can then use to watch the films. Your credit balance resets at the start of every month. Let's say you are going through here and you're like, hey, I want to watch Interstellar. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. Let's watch that. It costs 4 tickets to watch it, and you have 72 hours after you start it to, finish the film. I've got a balance every month of 30 tickets. And different films are worth different tickets. Just kind of depends on what you're watching. They do also have a Kanopy Kids section that has Sesame Street and things like that. Now, Hoopla works in a little bit different way. You do get fewer films and TV shows that you can check out per month. You'll see a little bit of an overlap between some of their selection here. They've got the Mission Impossible movies. They've got Legally Blonde, Grease, all kinds of good stuff. But in addition to these different movies and shows that you can watch, they also do have some like audiobooks. They have some streaming services that you can actually get. I believe for a while you could get a monthly pass or maybe weekly pass of Hallmark Plus. Their thing is kind of scrolling through here quickly, so not sure what's going on here, but there's quite a few different things that you can get with Hoopla, so I do like that as well. Both Kanopy and Hoopla, you watch stuff, no advertising, it's free, just take advantage of it, I say. So next up, local news. If you want to watch your local news stations, there are a number of different apps that you can watch them for free without paying for anything, and also without worrying about an antenna. One that I have personally used and I like pretty well is called LocalNow. In my area in Kansas City, I can watch the local news stations, local news broadcasts from 2 of my 4 local news stations, from my NBC station, also my ABC station. For a while, they had PBS on here, but unfortunately, they do not have that anymore. But you will find different news broadcasts. There is also some entertainment on here. Their primary focus is going to be on the live channels. They do have some on-demand movies and shows, but their selection isn't that impressive, but there is still a lot that you can watch here, especially if you are after local news. Now, next up is Haystack News. This also functions in a similar way to LocalNow. It's going to identify, your zip code and give you your local news broadcast. I can see here, I think I've got at least 3 of the 4 local news broadcasters in my area, so that's not too bad. There's also different videos that you can watch in addition to the 24/7 live broadcasts as well. They've got national news from ABC, from Scripps, from NBC, from Newsmax, Bloomberg, really a whole bunch of stuff that you can watch here through Haystack as well. And I've got 2 more streaming services I'll talk about that are in my wildcard category. Didn't really have a category for these ones, but I'll talk about them anyway. First up is going to be XumoPlay. This one, like Pluto TV, really focuses on live channels. There's going to be different news channels, channels that have game shows, old sitcoms, all kinds of good stuff that you can watch through here. I do like Xumo. They've also got a section for Hallmark Channel movies, if that's something that you're into as well. And then the PBS app actually allows you to watch a 24/7 live feed of your local PBS station for free without paying anything. You can watch different things, like if you're into Broadway theater, they've got Broadway productions that you can watch for free. You can also watch PBS Create. There's some international news, and you can also watch PBS Kids through here as well. Now, some of these shows, if you dig back, especially into the older seasons, like the British shows that they've got on here, you do have to sign up for a paid service that they call PBS Passport. But typically, the most recent episodes you can watch for free without paying for anything. So this was just cracking the surface of the different free streaming services. There frankly are a ton of them if you look through the app stores on your TV, through Roku, or whichever device you use. So let me know, are there any different free streaming services that you've used that I didn't mention in this video? Let me know in the comments section. There are, of course, some streaming services that haven't made it, like Crackle. And of course, if you've got a smart TV, they are increasingly emphasizing streaming services that come pre-packaged into the menu, like with Vizio, it's I believe called Watch Free Plus. Samsung has something, LG has something. And I will also mention, I talked about the illegal streaming services in this video. Now, there are some things you can do that circumvent the boundaries of copyright law. I'm not in a position where I'm going to encourage you to do that, but I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what you can't do. I would just say be aware, especially if you're maybe not the most tech savvy person. If you're going on websites like that, be careful what you click on. Be careful if there's pop-up ads. You don't want to download malware or any kind of negative thing that would steal your data or information onto your computer or device. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.